Welcome back. My name is Darren Thomas. I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. This is simpler, using machine learning algorithms in R. And so we're in Chapter 6. This is Lesson 3. And we've been looking at linear discriminant analysis. And so now in this lesson number 3 of this particular unit, we're going to actually begin the development of our model. So why don't we go ahead and move over to R. So you can see here, not a lot of code in this particular video. All we're going to do is, load our packages in case you logged out of R, you turned off R since the last video. We really need the mass package this time in particular because that's where the LDA function lives. We're going to set our seed to 4, and then of course right here in lines 5 and 6 we're going to actually train our model. So what we're doing here is that we want to try to predict what class somebody is in based on their math score, their reading score, and the experience of the teacher, the square root of the experience of the teacher. So that's what we're doing here inside the LDA function. And then we also have to set we have to set the data set to train, and we also have to set the priority. Now remember last video that we tried to figure out what proportion is each group of the whole. And so basically what this prior means is that 1, 1, 1 out of 3. So basically what it's basically saying is the first group is 1 out of 3, is 1/3 of the group. The second group is 1/3 of the group, and the third group is 1/3 of the group. So the probabilities are about even. Remember, it was about 33% each for each group when we did the summary, the prop.table function in the prior video. So I hope that makes sense. So having explained all the arguments in the formula inside the LDA function, why don't we go ahead and run this? We're saving it as train.lda. Press Control Enter. It's done. And so now what we're going to do with line 7 is we're going to look at the results, and I'm going to try to interpret and to explain to you what the results mean. So I press Control Enter in line 7, and we get this nice printout right here. So at the top here, you can see it just gives us the formula that we put in lines 5 and 6. Nothing surprising there. And there are the prior probabilities of the groups. So this is kind of what we expect the proportions to be, because this is what we have in our data so far. Now under group means, it tells you the means for each particular group. So the average score for regular was negative 0.08. This is in comparison to something, by the way. Small class was 0.1 above the mean. Regular was 0.08 below the mean for math score, etc. So these are kind of the differences between the groups based on their means. The next section right here is the coefficient of linear discriminants. These are similar to regression coefficients. Of course, you should be familiar with multiple regression by now. But what it does is that if you actually plug these in as a formula, it'll give you the probability that a particular sample is in a particular group. That's what it'll tell you. And then the last part here is the proportion of the trace. This is similar to principal component analysis in that, how much proportion of the variance does each function explain. And so you can see the first function explains 78% or 0.78, and the second function explains 21% or about 22% of the variance here. And so this is the printout right here. It's very simple. And so what we got to do now is we got to see how does this work out when we actually do this for testing purposes, which we haven't done yet, but we will do in the next video. So that pretty much wraps up this video. It wasn't very complex, and all that we simply did is we set up our function here, our LDA function, and we put in our formula. We're trying to predict what class somebody is in, and we use the 3 variables: math, reading score, and also the experience of the teacher. We put in the priorities, so we expect 1/3 of the groups to be in the first group, 1/3 in the second, 1/3 in the last group. We use the concatenate function for that, and then we just ran our model. We got our printout down here. You have some idea of what the characteristic of each group is in terms of their means, and we also got the linear discriminant functions right here. Now the reason we got 2 functions is because we have 3 groups. Remember, it's always number of groups minus 1. So we have 3 groups. Minus 1 is 2 functions that we could potentially use. So that pretty much wraps up this video. I hope this was useful for you. My name is Darren Thomas. I'm the Director of Educational Research Techniques. This is simpler, using machine learning algorithms in R. Thank you.